Hi friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and this time I'm gonna be reacting to the crash that ended a Prodigy. This sounds quite bad, so I wanna know. So let's go.
A brutal crash. A life lost.
Nissan.
Is it like that ended a Prodigy? I thought that he just didn't drive in F1 anymore, not like died.
Would like to extend my deepest condolences to the family of the deceased.
One program taking sim racers from their bedrooms and turning them into pro drivers. A nearly 4-year journey leading up to this faithful day. Was this the end of it all? This is the incredible, true story of Jan Mardenborough. 1999, Cardiff, Wales. While everyone's out there loving the sky full of fireworks on bonfire night, 8-year-old Jan couldn't care less. At his parents' friend's house, he's just found something way cooler. He turns on the PlayStation 1. Next, he's racing on the autumn ring track. Wow. For the next few hours, he doesn't even care about the fireworks. He's glued to the screen, racing and trying all kinds of new stuff. And well, this is where our story really starts. 2011. By now, Jan's obsession with racing isn't just some childhood phase. It's all he can think about. He's dropped out of college, because honestly, it just wasn't for him.
Whereas all my friends had gone to Australia or gone traveling, I was at home playing PlayStation, and yeah, I loved it.
His dad, a former pro football player, doesn't see it the same way. Back when he was playing, he made a couple of £100 per weekend, not millions like players today, so the family doesn't have the kind of cash it takes to get Jan a go-kart, let alone any real shot at competing. But Jan, he couldn't care less about that. Racing is all he thinks about. For him, this isn't just a game anymore. It's the only way he got to chase the one thing he loves. Same for me if you subscribe, not gonna lie. Jan's life had fallen into a monotonous routine, until one day, something changes everything. A competition to go from gamer to racer. It sounds too good to be true, right? First, you gotta clock a good time in a regional track. The top 20 fastest from each region will go head-to-head in an online race, but only the top 2 will move on to the next stage.
This is an opportunity of a lifetime.
A 6-week camp at Silverstone. Here,
That sounds amazing and so interesting.
mentors and coaches will push them to their physical and mental limits, training them to drive real cars. This is the real deal. Over those 6 weeks, mentors will select the best and most prepared candidates, who will then face off in a final race at Silverstone. The winner gets a fully funded year racing with Nissan. In other words, a dream come true for any sim racer. Genius, right? This was Darren Cox's idea, general manager of Nissan Europe at the time. And yeah,
Amazing idea.
even though it sounds like something straight out of a movie, it's a completely true story. I legit had to triple check that this was genuinely non-fictional. Of course, it helped in writing this video script, so don't hesitate to check it out. Now, from that day on, Jan gets more and more obsessed. I mean, it's his only true chance of ever becoming a pro driver. All he's got to do is nail a good time in the trial to qualify. Easy, right? Well, with 90,000 people going for just 20 spots, yeah, doesn't exactly sound that easy. But Jan's not giving up. One day, he fires up the PlayStation, and suddenly,
I just booted up my PlayStation one morning and there was a new menu, GT Academy Tryouts.
simply surreal. This was Jan's one shot in life if he ever wanted to become a driver.
What's all this about? You know, they're talking about making a real life racing driver from somebody that's playing a game.
Next step, the live final against the other 19 fastest drivers in the UK. For the top 2, it's finally off to GT Academy Race Camp, a chance to prove what they are made of and get closer to a pro racing career than ever before. This is their shot, and chances like this don't come around twice in a lifetime.
Unfortunately, there can only be one winner. Somebody has to go home.
Oof.
Jan is in front of his setup, heart racing, ready for the live final against the 19 fastest drivers in the UK.
It's you against the 19 best in Europe.
The pressure's on, and he knows he's got to give it his all. The race is incredibly close. Jan is fully focused, using everything he's learned over the years and pushing to the absolute max. And then, suddenly, the result?
Yes.
Jan can't believe it. A ticket to Silverstone to train and race against the top sim racers in Europe. Now, it's getting real. At this point, nothing makes sense anymore, and Jan's family now understand why he was so serious about this opportunity. It looks like all those years of playing racing games in his room are actually paying off. Deep down, Jan's not thinking about winning. He's just wondering how far he can go. These guys are super fast, and some are stronger than him, so the competition is really, really tough. It won't be easy at all, and he knows it. 6 hours a day for 6 weeks. Virtual races, tough physical and mental challenges, and of course, finally getting to drive a Nissan 370Z for real. Putting in countless hours to learn how to handle it and nail all necessary skills, all to turn these skinny kids into pro drivers. It was closer to a military routine than the gaming
It really looks like in military.
he's been used to. There are many challenges where Jan struggled hard and just barely gets by, but somehow he always finds a way to push through and keep going. Not everyone makes it through the grueling routine. Finally, the mentors. Eddie Irvine, yes, that Eddie Irvine, picks 6 finalists for the final day of the GT Academy.
I'm going to ask Thomas to take 2 steps forward, and then Carlos, Sasha, Thibaut, Jan.
Guys on the front row, congratulations, you're in for the next stage of GT Academy.
Little by little, getting closer to that dream goal. He's starting to believe it. Could this actually happen? Well, as if this wasn't enough, 2 guys get cut after the first test driving. Jan's got to go up against 3 other drivers in a 20-minute race at Silverstone in the Nissan 370Z to win GT Academy. And race day? Simply epic.
What I'm thinking, like, he was driving like a real car before this, or he was just driving sim? That's the thing that I want to know.
With an 8-second lead, Jan Mardenborough wins GT Academy. Simply unbelievable. From his room in Cardiff to a pro racing contract. In just 3 months, all those hours of gaming actually paid off. He was about to step up and live his dream. He's got to prove he's the real deal. Not just to the other drivers, but to the media too. Let's be honest, he's just a kid with crazy screen time, but zero experience in karting or any real racing. If he crushes it, the program's a success. But if he flops, it could all fall apart. Little does Jan know, his racing career would soon become unforgettable for reasons no one saw coming. In his first
I'm kind of scared.
year as a pro racer, everyone doubted Jan. But honestly, he shut them all up. Finished 3rd in his debut at the 2012 24 Hours of Dubai, and even fought for the British GP Championship, snagging a win at Brands Hatch along the way, and Jan had already shown he could hang with the best. By 2013, Jan made the leap to Formula racing. At that point, everyone pretty much agreed Jan was a legit driver, and everyone could see the GT Academy was more than just a gimmick. It actually worked. But none of that came close to what he'd face the next year, his biggest challenge yet. This was the real test.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the world's greatest endurance motor race. We are ready for the start of the 2013 Le Mans 24 Hours.
Jan would be racing in the LMP2 class, the second tier of prototypes, driving a Zytec Z111SN with a 4.5-litre Nissan VK45DE V8 under the hood. That's over 460 horsepower to control. A beast of a car with insane downforce and a top speed of well over 200 miles per hour. Jan had never driven anything like it. He'd be racing alongside fellow virtual driver Ordóñez and the more experienced Michael Crump. Could he handle a car like that, or was he gonna flop? In qualifying, they landed 11th, a pretty decent spot for him. On race day, the cloudy sky promised a mix of dry and wet conditions. And even though not many had faith in Jan and
I'm scared.
his teammates, believe it or not, they kept climbing the ranks, somehow fighting for a spot on the podium. And even with a lot of time lost to safety cars, they held their ground and finished up 3rd in their class and 9th overall. Simply incredible. With this result, Cox's plan to turn a gamer into a real driver really took off, with Jan and Ordóñez becoming celebrity faces of the program. At this point, nobody was doubting the talent and skills of Jan and Ordóñez anymore. Could this be the beginning of a revolution in motorsport worldwide? The truth is, Jan's career just kept taking off. After that, he raced in the 24 Hours of Spa, and in 2014, he made his debut in the GP3 series. He finished 9th and scored a win in Hockenheim, plus a podium in Hungary. He even signed with Red Bull Racing for a driver development program. In 2015, Jan was picked as one of the drivers for Nissan Motorsport's entry into the top LMP1 class of the WEC, where he'd race in some of the biggest events while still competing in GP3. He scored 2 podiums in GP3 and even filled in for another driver in a GP2 race. Safe to say, at just 22 years old, his career seemed unstoppable. That was until one shocking event turned everything upside down. The 28th of March, 2015, VLN series, Nurburgring Nordschleife, also known as the world's most dangerous track. Jan, in his GT3 class Nissan GTR Nismo, is flying down the German track, a real roller coaster. In every corner and bump, Jan can feel the weight of the car and all forces working against him. He's coming up on Flugplatz, but just as he hits the top, what the actual I don't think I'd ever seen a crash like this before researching for this video. The car lifted into the air and smashed into the barriers, landing right where the spectators were. Red flag waving and ambulances out. Everyone is fearing the absolute worst.
Was that his car?
The car's completely wrecked, and chaos breaks out in the crowd. Miraculously, and I don't even know how, Jan gets out of his car right away, but some spectators are hurt, and soon the ambulances are taking a few of them away. Jan gets taken to hospital too. Sadly, a few minutes later, the worst news comes in. One of the spectators, Andy Gierman, had passed away.
Was someone hurt? A spectator. Did they die?
A gut-wrenching sense of pain and guilt hits Jan. It can't be. This aerodynamic force mixed with the incline of the track just launched the car into the air. It's a rare phenomenon, but had somehow happened a few times before in motorsports. Probably the most famous case is Mercedes at the 1999 24 Hours of Le Mans.
See them. Here we go. Oh my God, the Mercedes has taken off. That's Peter Dumbreck at the wheel of the number 5 Mercedes.
Miraculously, and I don't know how, neither the driver, Peter Dumbreck, nor any marshals got hurt. And it wasn't even the first time that weekend this
Crazy.
CLR went airborne. Mark Webber went flying not just in practice, but also on the warm-up lap. The car took off 3 times, and somehow they didn't think to change it. In cases like this, it's obviously not the driver's fault, but Jan couldn't stop thinking about Andy, his family, and the guilt was eating him alive. Would he keep going? Could he keep going?
I'm not sure if I can do this.
To keep going or not, was it even worth it? Could he push through with that on his mind? It was definitely the darkest, hardest time in Jan's life, but he had to make a decision. After fighting his whole life for an impossible dream, there was no way he was giving up after all that. Motorsport had always been his passion. It's what he lived for. Not long after the accident, Jan took some tests to see if he could still race, and he totally could. Finally, he could be himself again and chase new goals, living the life he had always wanted. His next stop?
Did he continue actually? Oh, I straight away at the beginning thought that he died. But so sad.
From
I actually hope that that isn't eating him up alive, you know, from inside. I don't know. It's just terrible.
2016 on, he raced in Super GT in the GT300 class and in Japanese Formula 3, winning races in both. Then he moved up to GT500, where he also proved competitive despite not having the best cars. In 2021 and 22, he worked as a simulator and car development driver for Nissan E-Dams in Formula E, and he still takes part in some endurance races. With over 12 years in the sport, Jan had proven that a gamer can actually become a professional racer, something that seemed impossible just a few years ago. He's also shown that with enough determination and passion, you can break through any barrier. Jan didn't just become what he always wanted, he also built incredible mental strength and proved to be very well-rounded, adapting easily to all kinds of categories and cars. His story has inspired a lot of people, even sparking the 2023 hit movie Gran Turismo. What Jan's done over the years is seriously impressive, no doubt, but honestly, most people think we've never actually seen him reach his full potential. I mean, an accident like that leaves a huge mark, and I can't even imagine what it does to your head to go through something like that. What if he had never had that crash in Germany? Could he have raced in series like Formula E and IndyCar, done more endurance races like Le Mans, or even made it to F1? We'll never know, really. But one thing we do know is how the GT Academy ended, and I've got some bad news about that. Even though it was a game-changing program, they ended up terminating it in 2016. The project became unsustainable over time, and since it was a marketing move and wasn't generating any real profit, they had to shut it down. To be honest, I wish there was a new program like this out there. It finally presented a new solution to enter motorsport without coming from Strulovich money or sucking up to sponsors. An actual way in solely based on your skills and merit. I think ultimately we all have a glimmer of a chance or hope to make it, but there's one person I can confidently say that that doesn't apply to. You'll see what I mean in this video. And as always,
oh my gosh, this was a heavy one. I actually did think that he would do much more and do great stuff with his... He's doing great stuff, but like more bigger, you know. If that wouldn't happen, I think it kind of destroyed him a little bit. And I don't like when someone's dying. My condolences to his family, but oh my gosh, this was a heavy one. Oh, so yeah, I hope that you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please consider to leave a like and subscribe. And I'm totally feeling uncomfortable to say that. And yeah, please take care of yourself, and hopefully I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.